How's it going, everybody? My name is Dylon57, and today I'm going to be starting a 14-part video series about how to run Doom 2016 any percent. It's a super fun run, one of those difficult to learn, difficult to master kind of things, but overall very fulfilling, very fun. If you've ever seen a run of Doom 2016, it looks kind of easy, but I assure you, it is not that easy. Whenever you go to set up a new game file, you're going to disable AutoSwitch Empty and AutoSwitch New. You're going to set Crosshair Style to Simple and disable Tutorials. For key bindings, the only two key bindings that are really specific to the speedrun is that you have mouse wheel bound to jump and weapon mod. Whichever way, your preference, but this allows us to jump higher than normally intended. Gives us the highest possible jump because it inputs multiple jump inputs all at the same time, giving us a higher jump. And the weapon mod allows us to perform the extendo grab move, which you will see numerous times throughout the run. All the other keybinds, that's just whatever you prefer. Now for video settings, you're going to want to make sure that you have your gamma set to 1.5, VSync off. Well, technically you can set it to 1.5 to 1.8, but just so long as it's higher than default, so we can see some of our setup points throughout the run. And for me, and the setups that you'll see in this video, I use 90 field of view. Most people prefer a wider field of view. Perfectly fine. Some of the setups in the video may not work, but you can adapt to it. But yeah, that is what I use for the speedrun. And when we go to the advanced settings, we'll want to make sure that we are running at the using the Vulkan API. Your actual graphics settings are all dependent on your specific system. I have mine set to Ultra because I have a higher end graphics card. Most people will opt to run on low. Yes, and then show performance metrics, you'll want to set that to low so you can see your frames per second in the corner. That will help you know when you hit the 200 frames per second mark. The 200 frames per second is required to do the rail boost trick, which we will see many of, in fact 2 in this video. Okay, so now that we have our game file set up, we're going to start a new campaign, and we're going to play on the I'm Too Young to Die difficulty. Technically, you can play on any difficulty that allows you to reload checkpoints. However, this run is specifically about going as fast as possible, so we run on the easiest difficulty. So the first thing, before we start the level, there's going to be 3 zombies that you have to shoot. You'll want to try to shoot them in the head the first time. The pistol spread can mess with you sometimes. But ultimately, we kill those 3 zombies as quickly as possible, and then after they have been killed, we will continuously fire our pistol to skip the animation of Doom Guy looking at his pistol, his new weapon of destruction.
Without mercy, but you will be worse. Rip and tear until it is done.
Also, go ahead and take this time to mention that any tools or any trainers that I use will be linked in the description, so you can use those for whenever you're practicing and learning. They're very helpful. Okay, not the best in the world, but got the job done. Right, I continuously fired my pistol so we wouldn't look at it. So next you're going to set up about right here on this door and look about right here. This is just a consistent way to set up for the next trick. Once the door opens, we're going to back ourselves into this door frame here. We're going to settle up in this corner. And the first trick that we're going to do is called a paperclip. The reason why the trick is called the paperclip is because many of the walls in Doom 2016 are paper thin and you can literally just walk straight through them. And right out of the gate, first 20 seconds of the game, we're going to perform our first trick. So for this trick, we're going to scroll wheel jump into this corner, like so. And one technique that's used throughout the speedrun, holding shift and the pistol zoom slows your character's movement speed. So we're going to do that right now to slow our character's movement speed, and we're just going to slowly inch our way over right past the threshold of this door. Once you get about right here, we're going to press W. Sometimes you have to rock a little bit. That's okay. But now we're clipping into the wall. Okay, and then you can let go of pistol zoom, kind of rock your way back and forth, and wiggle, 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 wiggle through the wall. Okay. I'll show you again, this time faster. That one wasn't too clean. Try to get a clean one. Let's see. Nope. Sometimes you fail it, that's fine. You can just back out and try again. There we go. Alright. So we've made it through the wall, and the next step is we're going to jump up onto the top of this area. So you're going to line up right here, and we're going to start jumping up to the top. The movements and the placements are kind of specific, but with time, you'll be able to do this no problem. So first, we're going to scroll wheel jump and get into this corner right here. Notice how I pressed A and W. It helps me settle into this corner. Then we're going to jump up here and get stuck on this little bit. Oop, I'm moving. We're going to get stuck on this little bit of corner right here. And then we're just going to jump up and land here. Right? Once we've done that, we're going to jump over. There's some terrain to land on right there. We're just going to jump right over here. Right? We're now up here. And we're trying to jump on this bit of wall right here. If you get lined up with it, you can't see it. But that's what we're jumping on. Right? For the next part of the movement, we're going to line up our cursor about with this line where it meets the horizon, and we're just going to do a scroll wheel jump and grab onto some invisible terrain right there. Up here, you'll see these two poles. There's actually an invisible wall that you can walk down all this way. You know, you can jump up here, no problem. And we're going to walk to about this corner. Now for this next part of the movement, we're trying to get up right over there to that little cross beam. And in order to do that, we actually have to jump on top of some invisible terrain above this bit of like viscera or whatever that is. Sometimes it can be a little tricky, but just keep in mind there's an invisible platform there. And once we bounce across, we're going to bounce on top of some pipes between these cross beams to get over to that section. I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. Okay, you just jump, jump. Got a little stuck there, that's fine. And we jump. We're up there. I'll show you again. Okay, jump. Whirlwill jumping each time for the timing. And now we're up here. For this next part, there are actually two different ways to jump over to this section to begin the next portion of the movement. This wall here you can stand on, this black line, and this corner you can stand on. This is where we're going to be jumping to, right? You can also stand on this little pipe, but the only two that you can actually make it to with this jump is this wall and this little corner. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to line up to where we can't see that wall anymore. And we're just going to do a little hop. Okay. Line up and hop. and now we're on top of there. And then from here, we can just do a little jump over to the top of this pipe. And that has a setup for the next portion. For the alternative jump, the faster jump by a fraction of a second, is jumping straight over to this corner. And the way that you're going to perform that is whenever you just barely leave this platform that we're standing on, we're going to input a scroll wheel jump and land on that corner. So we're going to jump, and we made it. We're on that corner. And you don't necessarily need to jump over to this pipe if you don't want to. If that's what you prefer, that's fine. But now we're going to move on to the next section of the movement. Now, from here, there's actually two different paths that you can take. One is a much easier path, and the other is very, very difficult. I don't super recommend doing it. The reason why is because it only theoretically saves time, but that's if you get basically an instant setup on it. But you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump over into this corner, and as soon as we jump up into the corner, we're going to input another scroll wheel jump to get stuck in this wall. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay? Stuck in the wall. Just like that. Oh, and if you land here, that's fine. You just hop up, line up with it, boom, and you're in it. And we're going to keep on walking down until we get to about right here. Usually it's about this beam that you're looking at. And the next place that we're going to be jumping to is this bit of terrain right here. You see how there's this bit of curved geometry there that we can stand on. That's where we're going to be jumping for this next portion. Now, you're going to want to kind of jump toward this pipe, but you don't want to land on the pipe. That's going to kind of clip you back in bounds. So you'll see here, I'm going to do a jump, and scroll wheel jump over to the elevator room. Right, we're just going to jump, jump, boom, and we're in the elevator room. One more time, jump, jump, and we're in the elevator room. Right. Now that we're in here, we're going to press the button to the elevator. But Dylon, the door is shut. How do we press the button? Okay, well, like I said earlier, walls don't mean much in this game. We're actually going to press the button through the wall. In order to do that, we're going to line up in this corner, and we're going to hold pistol zoom and shift right at this spot. Right there. Next, we're going to slide on over until we get about on this black line right there. We'll let go of our pistol zoom and shift, and we can press the button through the wall right there. Kind of line exactly up on it. Normally, if you just spam E, you'll tend to catch that button. You're not exactly lined. Okay, really, really easy. I'll show you again. Right? We'll line up there, roll on over until we're about right there, and boom. We can make it through the wall. So now we're going to do the harder trick to get over to the elevator, and this is the intro rail boost. Now if you see up in the top corner, I have, 200 frames per second. It kind of bounces back and forth, but that's perfectly normal. Sometimes this jump can be a little tricky, but we're jumping over to this pipe here. Okay, so we're going to do a jump, right, and we're going to get up on this pipe. Naturally, you'll probably be a little bit cleaner than that, but that's fine. And the way we're going to set this up is we're going to look over here. This is where our focus is going to be whenever we set up this trick, because there's a very specific lineup for it. We're going to hold shift and scroll wheel, shift and pistol zoom, excuse me, and we're going to line up with that third black line. The edge of the pipe should be at that third black line on that bit of grating, okay? And we're going to move on back until we see just most of that E, okay? About right there. I'll throw it on a stake because this trick is kind of, well, tricky. All right, And with any rail boost that we set up this way, where we're on the edge of a rail or we're not, doing a jump specifically, in order to get the rail boost to work, we're going to press backwards and forwards, SW, whatever your specific movement inputs are. We're going to press those buttons really, really quick in order to initiate the rail boost. So once the rail boost goes off, we're going to keep holding W until we hit the opposite wall of the level, and then we're going to look back at the elevator. So let's hope I get this the first try, okay? Right? Boom. Right? And then you kind of jump through the wall there. Just like that. Let's do it again. Okay. Again, sometimes it doesn't work. Try again. Right? Boom. And we're in here. So the way that we're going to press the elevator button from here is we're going to... Oh, sometimes you can fall through there, so you want to be careful. All right, let's get back over. Oh, it's actually good that this happened. You can actually save this. You can land to do the other setup if you don't get the rail boost right. Yeah, I'm really glad that happened, because you can actually just, kind of land where this wall is, and you can make it. So let's try this. Let's see. No. And you can see how this doesn't super save time and is really reset heavy if you fail it. I really want to get over there. Okay, there we go. Now we're here. Alright. Perfectly fine. We're going to jump down in this corner, and the way that we're going to press the button while we're here in this corner is we're just going to nuzzle up into it real good. We're going to press W, A, and Shift while we're all the way in this corner. And in order to be able to... Oh, well, I saw the button right there. That's great. The reason why that's funny is because half the time you actually can't find the button immediately. And if you can't find the button immediately, you're just going to rock. You're going to let go of W for just a second and get back into position and then try to find the button. The button does change where it is a lot, so you'll want to be mindful of that. And again, like I said, doing this second technique is really inconsistent and it's hard to pull off. You're only trying to do this trick if you're trying to go for top 3, essentially. And even then, most people still don't do the intro rail boost. I do it sometimes, but it kind of just depends on how I'm feeling. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and press this button, and we're going to get into the next portion of the game. Notice we did not pick up the Praetor suit, so we have Doom Guy in all of his naked glory going up the elevator into the next section. Right? So as soon as we get up the elevator, we're going to get right up on that elevator door, because that'll let us, we actually can move during that, so you'll want to get right up on that elevator door. And now we're going to perform what is known in the community as Pebble skip. This is a rail boost that gets you all the way to the end of the game. Or, not end of the game, but the end of the level, excuse me. Alright, so what we're trying to find here is we're trying to find these 2 rocks. These 2 rocks right here, the first thing we're trying to find. The lineup for this trick is very, very precise. You have to be in the exact right spot. If you're a little bit too far up, you're a little bit too far down, it can drastically affect your boost, and it's not always consistent. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do this trick using this setup, and to kind of compensate whenever you get over to the end level trigger. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and get set up. We're going to hold Shift and pistol zoom, and we're going to get lined up right here. Yeah, right there. Okay, and you're going to notice that your iron sights on your pistol, the butt end of the pistol Those are about halfway through the big rock, and the barrel end of the pistol are kind of on that point there, and your cursor is just slightly above it. Now, whenever you load into this level on a fresh playthrough, you haven't reloaded checkpoint, you're not going to have your simple crosshair. You're not going to have it. So you'll want to pay attention to how this pistol is lined up right here in order to set up this trick if you're trying to do it super fast. If you're just running through the route casually, you just want to know how it's done, you can totally wait for the crosshair to pop up so you can see this setup. And this is exactly how it needs to be set up. Okay. So the next part of the trick is we're just going to stand on up, and we're going to look exactly at the point of this rock. This is our angle, because what actually happens whenever we perform this rail boost is we bounce off this wall and get flung that way. And this is one of those tricks that does absolutely require the 200 frames per second. It can technically be done with 190-ish, but it's inconsistent at best. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and try to show you this trick a couple of times, and pay attention very closely to my inputs while I perform this trick, because it is very exact timing. We're going to want to make sure that we hold pistol zoom the whole time, and we're going to input space and then W very quickly. So space W, right? So go ahead and feel free to watch my inputs if you need to. Space W, and we're off. Okay, this was a bit of a high boost. You can slow down a little bit, and you can still bounce. All right, and we landed right here. That's totally fine. The aim is to kind of land up top here, so you can just kind of drop in. But if you land here, don't worry. You can totally still save this. It's still plenty fast. This will, in this setup, you would use extendo grab in order to press this button. Now you have to have a clear line of sight to the button in order to perform extendo grab, but you're going to spam your weapon mod scroll wheel and spam E. There is kind of a specific timing to an extendo grab, but you'll get a feel for it kind of as you do them. I'm not going to press the in-level trigger here because I want to show the rail boost a couple of times in different ways, but that's how you would combat this situation. Right, and now here, we're going to go again, right, doing a boost. This one's a bit better. All right, perfect, and we landed exactly where we wanted to land that time. That's the optimal boost. You kind of land up in that roof section and then get to the in-level trigger. All right, let's go back, and this time I'll go ahead and stay set up here, but I'll show you what happens if you get like a really high boost or kind of a bad boost, okay? I'll show you two different scenarios. So first we're going to do this, all right? And let's say we didn't get an optimal boost, it was really high. We can just land right here. Super fine. And then if we just jump this way, we can land on top of here. There's a bit of an invisible wall here that you have to walk over, and then you can drop down. Alright. And now, let's say everything's horrible, I just want to die right now, and oop, there was a high boost, and for some reason you land all the way down here. You can still totally save this. It's kind of slow, but fine if you're just, you know, trying to get a rundown, that's fine. You'll just hop up on this ledge, and you can jump on this little bit of geometry here in order to jump up. Sometimes it's a little tricky. Okay. Boom. You just hop up, and you end the level. So that's pretty much it, honestly, for your UAC and the intro. Let me know if you have any suggestions. If you like the format, great. If you hate the format, tell me what I can do better. I'm going to try to put these videos out pretty quickly, one after another. But I wanted to make something that really in detail went through every bit of the route, because there isn't a particularly good video out there that really shows everything in a level with commentary, with different ways to do it. Seeker's tutorials are super, super great, but I feel like having it explained vocally is beneficial. I'm definitely not, the god gamer or anything by any means, but I want people to really be able to learn this run because it's super fun and super good. So, like I said, please leave your suggestions. Let me know if there's anything that I can do to help you. Uh, Reach out to the community Discord. I'll have that linked in the description. The Doom community Discord, a bunch of really wholesome dudes, really great dudes. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.